Hello, welcome to Garden House Studio and our holiday crafting blitz. In today's video, we are going to be making these little Christmas tree garlands. It is a sewn project, so it is pre-recorded, and they're really, really cute to hang in windows, on your trees, wherever you want to hang them. All of the directions and the tutorial is also on a blog post where you can find a supply list and the pattern. So tune in tomorrow for more holiday crafting on our holiday crafting blitz. Once you've decided how many trees and you've got the pattern, it's time to cut them out. So you want to cut them out double, and on the right side we sew them up using about an 3/8 of an inch stitch. And once they're all done, you can see I've used about, I'd say 3/8 of an inch stitch. Now it's time to stuff them. So carefully cut a little slit in the back and decide which side you like better, and then cut the slit into the back. I would say about an 1.5 inch slit. And we're going to stuff it from the back, little pieces at a time. That way we make sure that our tree is evenly stuffed and not distorted. So grab your stuffing, and I'm just using a polyfill stuffing, and I take tiny little pieces at a time, stuffing it into the corners, the bottom where the little stem is, the top of the tree, and I use a turning tool. This is just like the dowel to get it down into that space. Now, by using a little bit at a time, it's easier to get it into those spaces. Flip it over every now and then just to make sure it's stuffed nice and evenly, and then it's time to sew it up. So I just take tiny little stitches, embedding the stitches into the raised up parts of the chenille, and just trying to hide them as much as I can, but mostly it's not going to get any wear and tear, so you just want to make sure you've got all that stuffing in that hole. And you just repeat the exact same thing for all of your little trees. It goes pretty quick once you start doing it. And you don't have to be super fancy. It's a shabby tree bunting, so and you'd be shocked at how much the fabric hides the stitches. And here they are, all sewed up. Now it's time to cut my twine. I wanted my bunting to be finished at 36 inches, so I wanted 12 inches down each side. So I cut the string at 48 inches, which gave me 12 inches to tie my knots and 36 inches with the trees and the beads. The twine, the polished hemp is super soft and easy to work with, but it's just stiff enough that the beads thread on really easily. So I marked my 12 inches because that was where I was going to tie a knot, and then I started putting the beads on. I needed 10 beads, 2 for in between each tree and 1 for each end. Beads go on really easily, but every now and then you get one bead that has just a little too much paint in it. So just use some kind of an object, a really pointy scissors end, a small screwdriver, or something that you can get rid of that paint, and then the twine will go right through perfectly. Now it's time to tie the knots at the end. I pulled out about, let's say, 4 inches and made a loop, and then tied a knot with that loop. Now the twine is thin enough for the hole of the bead to go through that double layer, but you might have to force it a little bit. Just twist it a little bit, or even cut the end on an angle, and it'll work perfectly. And do the same for both ends. Tie those knots and put that bead up there, and it's time to attach the little trees in between the other beads. Do the same thing down the other end. Make a loop knot, tie it really tightly, and go ahead and push that bead up into the knot. And at the end, we're going to put a little bit of glue up there so that that bead stays securely up at that knot. Kind of covers the knot and makes it look better. Now I'm dividing the beads up and making my spaces where I'm going to sew the trees on. It doesn't have to be exact, just divide the space up in between the ends and I want my trees to be 6 inches in between, so I'm actually putting a 6-inch mark on the cardboard that I'm working with. And I'm going to sew each one of these trees onto the twine, just really tacking them, because at the end we are going to hot glue them on and secure them with glue when we put the star up at the top. So I just use regular thread and I just tack them, maybe take 5 or 6 stitches. Now it's time for the finishing touches. The first thing I did was put a tiny bit of glue in between the 2 beads and then push them together so that they stay there and don't move up and down on the twine. Any extra glue, just wipe it off right away. After that, we're going to glue those stars on. We only tacked onto the trees. We only tacked those trees, so by gluing the star on, we're also making that so the tree will not move up and down on that bunting. The stars that I used are little 1-inch wooden stars that I painted a brassy gold. And there you have it, a perfect little shabby tree bunting for your holiday.